Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Cilinix Crypto. Welcome back to a new market analysis, or middle of the day market update, what I usually tend to call it. On the crypto markets, we're going to do a full update again. There is again a lot to talk about, and we've spoken about this this morning already in my Bitcoin video. But it's bound to be a volatile day again. Now, I have to say, the majority of this morning and the start of the afternoon were relatively quiet, but we actually have seen some new movements come in. Some more volume come in as well, and obviously, or at least most likely, we're going to get some major fundamental headlines as well over the course of today. So you need to be prepared for that. I'll try my best to do that in this video. Now, quick reminder, tomorrow we have FOMC minutes, all right, so that matters. That's important economic data. It will probably not affect the price too much on the long run or in the long run, but short term could definitely cause some major volatility. Bit of an overview right now. The S&P 500 has just opened, all right. The New York Open was just a couple of minutes ago. It opened much higher, all right, and that's in line with the stock markets across the world. Europe, Asia also opened higher. Right now it's interesting because we actually have a gap to the downside. What I think is going to matter a lot in terms of the technicals for the stock market or for the equity market, which obviously influences Bitcoin a lot. It's very correlated at this point of time still, is how we react to retesting this support right here between 505 and 510. I think technically if we can get a strong reaction from that, we can actually start to fill some gaps to the upside, which would obviously be very, very bullish for Bitcoin. However, we're talking about the technicals right now. It's interesting to watch how we fill that gap, of course. But ultimately, how we fill that gap and if we fill that gap depends on the fundamentals, which I wanted to talk about a little bit later. And then we're talking about the trade war and potential trade deals, of course. Outside of that, others. So the altcoin market so far has held support quite nicely. This is very much the main support I would like to see hold. All right. So this is definitely one to watch. So far it looks pretty good, all right. So even though we might retest these lows as we have done so often in the past, it looks good to be holding this level so far. And then outside of that, Coinbase Bitcoin price at this point of time is still at a discount, which is different from last week. Last week, this was in a premium very, very often, which signals that there's no major crypto-specific buying coming in, which again means that the equity movements, or at least what the S&P 500 does, is going to give direction to Bitcoin to a large extent. All right, but Bitcoin specifically here, when we're talking about the current situation. It's quite clear, although the direction outside of that range which we are in right now on the lower time frames is a little bit less clear. But like I said, we'll talk about it a little bit later because that depends on the fundamentals. But no, it's very easy. We have this major resistance level right here at 80,800. That's the main level to break, preferably with volume. If we're able to break above that, we can easily fill the CME gap right here that we left, so we can go all the way up here towards 84,000. And then the main support level we have right now seems to be around 78,500, 79,000. All right, so there you can see we have the main value area low. We also have a fair value gap right there. So that would be, even though it's a very weak support level, that would kind of be my main support level right now. Maybe you can extend it. You can extend it a little bit lower towards the weekly open, towards 78,500. But those are the two levels, all right. And we're waiting for one of those two levels to break. If we break down below 78,500, we're very likely going to revisit 76, but also most likely 74, maybe even lower. But initially 76. And like I said, if we're able to break above 80,800, we can get up to that CME gap towards 83, 84,000. Now, those are the two possibilities for Bitcoin. Most of the coins, as you can see right here as well, are very correlated to Bitcoin. So how do we know which one of these two scenarios is going to happen? And that's a mix of two things. It's first of all the S&P 500. So in general, what can we expect from that? And second of all, like I said, it depends a lot on the trade war, or at least the tariffs situation, whatever you want to call it. The bullish case scenario, so the scenario in which we can actually have a breakout, would be deals, all right? So then especially US EU deals, and even more China-US deals, then we can easily get this breakout, and we will not even get a retest. We will just move up to that level instantly, like this perhaps. So then we can get that breakout, and what would be bad is escalation, all right? So no trade deal between the US and China, a further escalation in general from China's side, because it's their turn in this chess game. That would be bad, all right? And it does depend on that largely, because like I said, there's no specific momentum coming into crypto right now. Crypto is very specific, is very correlated to the equity markets, and the equity markets are very reliant on the data. We, for example, had some good news about a potential deal between the South of Korea and the US. That pushed the prices higher. That's also why we are trading a bit higher here with the market opening. But ultimately, we need to see a continuation of that narrative. And that's going to move the markets. Now, we had some major news for XRP today. I will upload a video pretty soon after this video about that. So check that out if you're interested in that. XRP is also just following Bitcoin right here, so I cannot talk about that too much. And there's a couple of altcoins that I like. I wanted to highlight two of them. First of all, Jasmy. Got some good news because they were not delisted. But outside of that, we're also just gaining, if it loads, it's also gaining a huge amount of volume. So I think Jasmy is very interesting with a potential deep pullback here. And then a coin which might sound very, very weird, but a coin that I like quite a bit as well is Fartcoin. I would not buy this myself, but this is gaining a lot of volume, and this also has quite a lot of positive sentiment on the socials. So and yes, it's I know a lot of you probably don't know this, but it's really Fartcoin. It's a meme coin, but looking quite strong, as you can see. It was quite strong over the last 24 hours. It's in a range, so as long as we haven't broken that range, I would not buy. But definitely worth it to keep on your watch list. That's it for now. All right, so that's all I wanted to say regarding the markets for now. So if you do have any questions, let me know. But for now, thank you for watching. Take care and bye.